All right, everybody, we're coming to you at the 5100 block of Calhoun, and believe it or not, the 4600 block of Weingarten. Y'all heard of Mr. Joe Weingarten? Well, this is a street that Mr. Joe Weingarten and the Jewish people, when they was out here, they want to honor him for bringing all of this McGregor out here and the Jewish community out here. So they named the street after Mr. Joe Weingarten. And it's right here at the corner of Calhoun and Weingarten. And Weingarten is a street that only runs from Calhoun to Color. I figured I want to throw that history in there because the main reason we're here Friday the 13th is to honor the memorial of a great man. When I tell you he's a great man, he's a great man. He finished MC Williams the same time I finished Jack Gates, 1967. Mr. Maurice McGowan. We're here for his wake. And we're documenting most of this here and the people who coming out to pay the respect, the last respect of Mr. Maurice McGowan, because they will have the funeral over there in 3rd Ward, over there at Wheeler Street Baptist Church. But today is a memorial of Mr. Maurice McGowan. This is his wake. We covered the memorial service, which is out there at Burnett Stadium, and a lot of young kids came out there to show their respect and how much they appreciate what he brought to them by teaching them the facts of life to help them grow up to be the adults that they are today. But I'm here to talk to him about Mr. Maurice McGowan and what he did so much, not only for me, but for the great school of Jack Gates. And you know, when I first met Mr. McGowan, he was quarterbacking for MC Williams. You know, just to give you an idea of where this man came from. He came from Acres Home. They didn't have a school out there in Acres Home for him to attend when he got to junior high school. So he had to catch the bus all the way from Acres Home to 6th Ward. People want to know where in the world is 6th Ward. 6th Ward is right there off of Washington Avenue and a street called Studemont, right before you get to Memorial. And there was a junior high school out there called Harper, and that's where he attended junior high school. He could not go to Booker T. Washington because Booker T. Washington was too crowded. So they had to bus him to Harper, because later on, when he got to be in the 9th grade, they opened a new school out there called MC Williams out in Acres Home. And that's when I met him. He was a quarterback. Nobody never heard of MC Williams. Jack Gates was getting ready to make a repeat, a guarantee, the same team that they had to win the state. That year they got the same team in 1966 to make a repeat. Only thing they had to do was win one more game, and that was to play MC Williams. And MC Williams was a brand new school. Nobody never heard of him. A couple of schools like Cashmere and Booker T. Washington, they blew him off the field. But this man and the quarterback, Mr. Maurice McGowan, led his team to make a big upset in 1966. MC Williams upsetted the state number one ranked Jack Gates line. And not only did they beat Jack Gates, but they knocked us out of the playoff. So many people, I talked to Mr. McGowan later on in life as he got to come over to Jack Gates to join Luther Booker. And I talked to him, I say, man, you guys must have had a parade after y'all beat Jack Gates out there in Acres Home. I teased our Mayor Sylvester Turner about that, the big upset that MC Williams did over Jack Gates, orchestrated by the quarterback, Maurice McGowan. This is some history, man. This man had been a winner ever since I knew him. And when I found out that Luther Booker, which is also I've been knowing since I've been swimming since I was 11 years old, because he used to be over the independent swimming team and later on during the summer and then the winter, when school started, he was over the Booker T. Washington swimming team. And this man have always been a winner. And I look at some of the people that he helped to be a winner, like my pastor Luther Walker, his brother Reverend Castro Walker, Mr. Kenneth Howard, Desmond Henderson. Oh, the list goes on and on, man. This Coach Booker, before he got to Yates. Now, you get these two great guys together. Coach Luther Booker. And when Coach Luther Booker got over Yates, one of the main coaches that helped him put together a good team was Coach Maurice McGowan. Coach Maurice McGowan, he the one bought the first state championship to Jack Yates. It didn't happen in '85. No, it happened in '85. It did not happen in '85. Let me correct it. It happened in 1982. The girls' basketball team that Coach McGowan coached. Let me just give you some of his stats, y'all, to show what a good coach this man was. He took the girls' basketball team, and girls in the black schools weren't even known to play basketball. That was a boys' sport. But he took them girls in, trained them, and taught them the game, and taught them what he knew. And do you know, in 1982, HISD won the first state girls basketball team, y'all. And who was it coached by? Coach Maurice McGowan. 5 years in a row, he took Jack Yates to the state finals. That's strong, y'all. And he joined the staff of Coach Luther Booker on the football team. And in 1985, him and Coach Luther Booker set a record through HISD that have never been broken and had never been done. They had an undefeated 1985 state football team. Head coached by Luther Booker, but most of them young guys, they came up under Coach Maurice McGowan. You know, and for some of you guys who old school like me, who kept up with Jack Yates, Coach McGowan was just like Raymond Daniels was to Coach Patterson. He was his ace assistant. He was the one that took the young people in as rookies and brought them up to be juniors and seniors before Coach Booker got a hold to them. But he the one groomed them kids in so they could be able to play for Coach Booker. That's how they wind up winning a 1985 state football championship, and the only high school in Houston that have went undefeated and won a state football team. It was coached by Luther Booker, but most of the root and the ground root of it, and the hustling and the bustling and the people who bought that team up to what it was coached by this man, Coach Maurice McGowan. And I'm here to pay a tribute to Coach Maurice McGowan because he deserved it, man. Because his family out in Acres Home, I want them to know how much we in Third Ward appreciate what Coach McGowan did to helping us. And he did that because he a diehard Jack Yates line. This man was born out there in Acres Home. He was raised out there being an Eagle, a Washington Eagle. But when he graduated out of Prairie View, Texas, Prairie View A&M, which he also starred over there at Prairie View as a star football player under Coach Dooley. And Coach Dooley came from Texas Southern. But by the time Maurice McGowan got over to Prairie View in 1967-68, when he got over there, he was accepted by Coach Dooley, and Coach Dooley let him be the quarterback of his team because Coach Maurice McGowan have always been a leader. And I'm so thankful that God put him where I could come in contact with him to get some of this history that he got. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the people at Jack Yates, those young people who came out to show their respect for Coach McGowan. I'm so grateful that Coach Luther Booker, who also was a winner, and when I seen Coach Booker and Coach Maurice McGowan over at Jack Yates in the 80s, I said, oh no, it's all good now, baby. Hey, this is the new legacy of Jack Yates. You know, where Coach Patterson and Coach Raymond Daniels took the baton and they passed the baton off. And when Coach Patterson left, y'all, he passed it off to Forrest Henry. Forrest Henry knew the legacy of Jack Yates because Forrest Henry played against Jack Yates. He was a star football player for Phyllis Wheatley in 1953 and 54. So he knew the legacy of Jack Yates. Plus he was an assistant coach up under Pat Patterson. And when him, Coach Henry, and Coach Patterson, when they went to Joe Matusa, who was the athletic director of HISD, and wanted Luther Booker to come over there to precede him and to carry on the legacy that not only Coach Pat Patterson carried, but also the legacy started with Mr. William Holler. And to see the legacy of Jack Yates from Coach William Holler to Coach Pat Patterson to Coach Forrest Henry on to Coach Luther Booker, and be able to have an assistant like Coach Raymond Daniels was to Coach Patterson in the 50s and the 60s, and to be able to have an assistant like Coach Maurice McGowan up under Coach Booker. I knew then. I wasn't surprised when Jack Yates won the state champion in 1985 because both of those guys were winners. They was winners before they even got to Jack Yates. And they just carried on the legacy of Jack Yates. And I'm so grateful that I got a chance to talk to Coach Booker's wife, Miss Booker. And she's so happy for these kids out here at Jack Yates. Just like she was so happy for the kids over there at Booker T. Washington. Man, this is legacy. And I'd like to say thank you, y'all,